There's a huge difference between a rifle that hits the target and a rifle that seems incapable of missing it. And in .308, that gap is measured in fractions of a minute of angle. A group so tight at 100 yards, every round lands inside a circle smaller than a dime. That's the wall. And only a handful of rifles in this caliber have ever cleared it consistently right out of the box, without a custom barrel or a hand-loaded round babying the shot. What's changed is that the wall moved. Precision manufacturing, barrel lapping, action bedding, chassis rigidity, trigger engineering has quietly gone somewhere in the last few years that used to belong strictly to five-figure custom builds. And the result is a short list of factory .308s that don't just clear sub-MOA, they print groups that would have embarrassed a hand-built rifle 10 years ago. So today we're breaking down the ones that actually earn the top of that list. The platform's serious precision shooters keep coming back to, the specs behind the accuracy, and the trade-offs each one asks you to make in exchange for that kind of glass-cutting consistency. Stick with me to the end, because the last one holds a group tight enough that the first time you see the target, you'll assume it's a printing error. Here's something the history books don't tell you often enough. When Eugene Stoner designed the rifle that became the M16, he built it around a bigger cartridge first, a 7.62 battle rifle called the AR-10. The military took his design, shrank it down to 5.56, and that little rifle became one of the most famous rifles on Earth. Stoner spent the rest of his career living with that. Then, in the early 1990s, well into his 60s, he walked into a shop in Florida owned by Reed Knight and finally went back to finish what he started. What they built together was the SR-25. And let's kill a myth right now because the internet gets this wrong constantly. That 25 is not a model number. Stoner rifle, sure, but the 25, that's his AR-10 and AR-15 added together. The genius of it was restraint. Instead of reinventing anything, Stoner took his old AR-10 and rebuilt it with every lesson the M16 had taught him. The new 7.62 semi-auto shared much of its operating DNA with the AR-15 and M16. Same controls, same muscle memory. The difference lived up front in a heavy, free-floating, match-grade barrel. Knights shipped each rifle with a test target, and some came back showing 5-shot groups under 0.7 of an inch. Knights guaranteed the 24-inch match gun to shoot under an inch at 100 yards, while match variants were built to hold half MOA accuracy. Out of a gas gun in the early 1990s, that was borderline witchcraft. The Army wasn't buying yet, so Knight kept the program alive through civilian sales. That changed in May 2000 when the Navy adopted it as the Mark 11 Mod 0. To make room for a suppressor, Knights shortened the barrel and reworked the rifle's internals to preserve its accuracy. The finished system was rated for half MOA performance. Stoner never saw it happen. He passed away in 1997, 3 years before the rifle entered service. The next milestone came in 2005 when the Army launched a competition for a semi-automatic sniper system to complement the M24. Knights won. In 2007, the rifle entered service as the M110 semi-automatic sniper system, becoming the first Army weapon fielded with a quick-detach suppressor as part of the system. That same year, it earned recognition as one of the Army's top 10 greatest inventions. In Afghanistan, snipers praised its ability to deliver rapid follow-up shots without breaking position. It wasn't flawless. Early field reports mentioned maintenance concerns, and the Army later pursued improvements and weight reductions. The platform eventually evolved into the newer M110A1, while commercial SR-25s still deliver sub-MOA accuracy today. Number 3 is the H&K PSG-1, a rifle born from one of the worst hostage rescue disasters in modern history, where a tragic failure sparked the development of a precision machine built to perform when lives depend on a single shot. September 1972, the Munich Olympics. Gunmen from the Palestinian militant group Black September took 11 members of the Israeli Olympic team hostage, and when West German police tried to end it at Fürstenfeldbruck Air Base, the operation collapsed. Every one of the 11 hostages died. West Germany looked at that catastrophe and made a decision. Never again would their police be outgunned in a moment like that. So they went to Heckler & Koch and asked for a rifle that could end that kind of standoff with absolute precision. Now here's where a lot of videos get the story wrong. The massacre happened in '72, but the rifle didn't. H&K spent years developing it. And the PSG-1 didn't actually reach the market until the mid-1980s. What H&K delivered was unlike anything else on the market. They took the battle-proven, roller-delayed blowback action of the G3 and obsessively reworked it for precision. Those locking rollers that hold the bolt shut? On the PSG-1, they were redesigned to make the bolt seat more consistently from shot to shot. Then they hung a 25.5-inch heavy barrel out front, free-floating polygonal rifling, built for one thing and one thing only: accuracy. No iron sights, just a fixed Hensoldt 6-power scope with an illuminated reticle, because this rifle had exactly one job. And that job produced one of the most famous accuracy standards in the semi-auto world. Every PSG-1 had to put 50 rounds of match ammunition inside an 80mm circle at 300 meters before it could leave the factory. That's about 3.15 inches, which works out to roughly 1 MOA. And before 1 MOA sounds ordinary, remember this. We're talking about 50 consecutive rounds, fired back-to-back, out of a semi-automatic rifle. Not some cherry-picked 3-shot group built for a brochure. With the right match ammunition, a good PSG-1 could shoot well under half MOA, and for years it became the rifle every other self-loading sniper platform was measured against. Germany's GSG-9 carried it. The FBI's hostage rescue team carried it. Counter-terror units across Europe built their reputations behind it. So why does the most legendary semi-auto sniper rifle ever made land at number 3 instead of higher? 2 reasons. First, it's still a semi-auto, and the 2 rifles ahead of it simply shoot tighter groups on paper. Second, it's a genuine unicorn. H&K stopped building it around 2010, U.S. import restrictions kept the numbers low, and the examples that surface today regularly sell for $20,000 or more. Number 2 comes from a country that turned precision shooting into a national art form: Finland. Sako has been building rifles in the town of Riihimäki since 1921, and the TRG line, the name literally means Riihimäki Precision Rifle, has been in the hands of militaries and police units around the world since the early 1990s. The one on this list is the newest evolution, the TRG-22A1, updated in 2018. And Sako makes a promise about it that most gun makers wouldn't dare put in writing. Every single TRG is tested at the factory, and it does not leave Finland unless it shoots under a minute of angle. Sub-MOA, guaranteed, out of the box, before you've even mounted a scope. In the real world, it does a whole lot better than that. Reviewers running the .308 version routinely land right around half a minute of angle. And Sako's closely related military rifle, the TRG-M10, carries a factory acceptance standard in .308 of 2/3 of an MOA. That's the number they'll put their name on. What shooters actually get tends to be tighter still. The engineering is why. The heart of it is a cold hammer-forged barrel. Sako forges the chamber and the bore together in one pass, which buys you near-perfect concentricity and a barrel that outlasts the competition. On the .308, it runs 26 inches, fully free-floated, dropped into an aluminum chassis that clamps the barreled action down so nothing shifts when the temperature does. The bolt runs 3 lugs on a short 60-degree throw, quick, glass smooth, and the folding stock latches up without a whisper of wobble, which is a whole lot rarer than spec sheets admit. There's even a full toolkit tucked inside the handguard, so a shooter can adjust the entire rifle in the field without carrying a thing. This gun wasn't adapted from a battle rifle, it was born a precision instrument, and it's proven it, winning in ISSF and military CISM competition against the best target shooters alive. So why isn't it number 1? Because despite being one of the most accurate factory-built .308 bolt-action rifles money can buy, The TRG-22A1 falls just short of the rifle that takes precision to an even higher level. But the rifle sitting at number 1 has something even Sako can't match. A combat resume spanning 40-plus nations, and a design so influential that the entire industry, Sako included, is arguably building in its shadow. And that brings us to number 1, the Accuracy International AX308. To understand why this rifle sits at the top, you've got to look at what it grew out of. Back in the 1980s, a British company called Accuracy International did something nobody else had figured out yet. Instead of bedding a rifle action into wood or fiberglass like the rest of the world, they bolted and bonded it to a full-length aluminum chassis, a rigid metal spine that doesn't swell, doesn't warp, and doesn't walk its point of impact whether you're shooting in an Arctic whiteout or a desert oven. That rifle, the Arctic Warfare, went on to become one of the most widely fielded sniper platforms on the planet, serving more than 40 nations and fighting on damn near every continent: Iraq, Afghanistan, and right now today, in Ukraine. And that aluminum chassis idea? It's not some niche feature anymore. It's the template. Look at almost any serious precision rifle built in the last 20 years, and you're looking at Accuracy International's fingerprints. The AX308 is the modern purpose-built .308 heir to that legend. And by the numbers, it's the most accurate rifle on this entire list. Independent testing of the AX in .308 turns in sub-half-inch groups at 100 yards and holds right around half a minute of angle all the way out to 300. Quarter to half BMOA is what the factory tells you to expect. That's exactly what it delivers. Here's how it earns that. The action is machined from a single piece of steel and bonded straight into that aluminum chassis. No flex, no compromise. The bolt runs 6 locking lugs on a fast 60-degree throw. The stainless match barrel free floats inside a shroud, and here's the clever part. It's held in by AI's quick lock system, so an operator can pull and swap that barrel in the field in under a minute, using a hex key that lives right inside the cheekpiece. 2-stage adjustable trigger. 10-round steel magazine, a folding stock machined tougher than a car door hinge. It weighs around 14 pounds bare, and it's priced like the thoroughbred it is. You're looking at $7,000 and up before you ever bolt on a scope. But that's the entire point of a list called Most Accurate. This isn't the rifle with the best war story. That's up for debate. It's the rifle that shoots the tightest, carries the deepest combat pedigree, and was built by the company that literally redrew what a sniper rifle is supposed to be. Every other rifle in this video is chasing a bar that Accuracy International set. That's why it's number 1. So there they are. 4 rifles, 1 cartridge, 4 completely different answers to the same question. How tight can you actually shoot a .308? The Knight's SR-25 answered it with speed, proving a semi-auto could run with the bolt guns and rewriting how snipers fight. The PSG-1 answered it with obsession, setting a 50-round standard nobody's topped in the self-loading world. The Sako TRG-22A1 answered it with a factory guarantee most makers wouldn't sign their name to. And the Accuracy International AX308 answered it by rewriting the rulebook, then outshooting everybody who tried to follow. And notice what didn't make the cut. No M40, no M24, no M14, legendary rifles, all of them. But this list was never about legend. It was about the number on the target. And when accuracy is the only thing on the table, these 4 stand at the top of the mountain. Now I want to hear from you. Did I get the order right? Is there a .308 you'd have bumped one of these for? A Steyr, a Desert Tech, some custom build that shoots lasers? Drop it in the comments and tell me what you'd have ranked number 1, because I promise you this one's going to start an argument. If you got something out of this, hit subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.